Hello everyone, welcome to Damru Talks. Today we will talk about Hiramba Ganpati related to Purva Falguni Nakshatra. This is your host Rishi Matalia. Namaskar. So, Hiramba Ganpati is, as you can see, is actually sitting on a lion, right? So, pretty much related with Dharma also. Now, the deity associated with Purva Falguni Nakshatra, there is a discrepancy in it. So, Bhaga is considered to be the deity, and according to some others, it is also Aryama. I'm not going to go much more detail into why both of them are there and all that stuff. But Bhaga, right? So, this is the second of the triplicity that you see in the nakshatras, the Purva Falguni Nakshatra. And in the first triplicity we saw in the Bharni Nakshatra, the deity was Yama. Over here, the deity is Bhaga. Now, Bhagwan, right? We say Bhagwan. Now, Bhagwan, when we say, is not actually God. Yeah, that might come something new to you. I can understand it, but Bhagwan cannot directly be translated to God. Now, I will tell you a few reasons why. Now, Bhagwan, right? The other words like these are what? Dhanwan, Balwan, Mulyavan, Bhagyavan, right? So, all of that you see is that Dhanwan. Dhanwan means the person who has lot of wealth, Balwan, lot of strength. Now, Bhagwan, as per ours, is basically there are total I think there are six attributes. Correct means I might be exactly, but there are six, right? That are associated with it. So, if you have all of those, then you are a Bhagwan. Okay. So, there are multiple things associated with it. So, some of those I can tell you is for example, uh, samay, time, space, consciousness, uh, jeev, atma, those kind, all those things, that is the whole, basically the whole combination of those is basically uh, that actually always existed. There is no origin, and there is no destruction of those. They exist as they are. So that is Bhagwan. Now, if you look at the word God, now God actually is derived. I don't know. It means I am not a linguist, but I can tell you from what I know that God is derived from somewhat similar to like a part of sun. So Sol, right? It comes from Sol. So how the whole flow happens, that I'm not a linguist. So that is just one part. So God and Bhagwan is different. We should not be directly translating anything that is in Sanskrit or Hindi that is written Bhagwan. When we translate it in English, we cannot translate it to God. We should leave it as it is. Now I got some books of this Ganpatis, uh, uh, which we discuss in this channel, right? I got the Mugdal Puran from one of the authors, and what they have done is very simply dumbed it down by removing the name of all the Ganpatis to just Ganpati. Now that is totally dumbing the stuff down, and the whole essence of the book is lost. So that's why it is very important to use some words which are very specific to Sanskrit and all the literatures. Bhagwan is one of them. Bhagwan is not God. So this is also a birth star of Brahaspati, the Guru. Okay. Now Aryama is also, according to some, Aryama is the deity of this nakshatra. Now, if you look at Aryama, what it says is it's a close friend or life partner, love, sun, and sight organ. Awesome, right? Now, who is Yama? Yama is the first mortal. He is the brother of Shani, and Sunny Dev is the son of Surya Dev and Chaya. Correct? And the word Jyoti in the Jyotisha means blissful, self-luminous light of Supreme Being. So this, in a way, I just went through the slide. Now let's get into detail of it. So Aryama, a close friend or life partner. Now can you tell me who is the closest friend or life partner that walks with you every day, night, each and every second? What people don't realize it, that the only closest friend that you have in your life is actually death. Death walks with you everywhere, at every part in time, in every part of the moment. You are actually dying. Because you are dying, there is new creation happening. So Aryama is a very close friend. He loves sun and sight organ. Awesome, right? Because that is why he is the giver. That is why he is the god of patronage and favor. So your closest, if you make your closest partner death, you are not afraid of anything. So this nakshatra, pretty much, in a way, if you look at it, it will basically explain the person has the choice of a spiritual path over here. Now let's see how the Hiramba Ganpati has been described. Hiramba Ganpati is described like five-faced, white in color. Hiramba Ganpati, protector of the weak, rides a big lion. He extends the gesture of protection and blessing while holding a noose, japa beads, axe, hammer, tusk, garland, fruit, and modaka. So, first thing is five-faced. Okay, who else had five face? Brahma. And then Shiva took out his fifth head. Okay, why did Shiva take it out? Because Shiva was basically angry at Brahma that you are not protecting the weak. So Hiramba Ganpati, protector of the weak, rides a big lion. Well, somehow this reminds me of now when I'm talking about it, it reminds me of He-Man. And what was the He-Man's main master? He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, right? So He-Man also extend the gesture of protection, by the way. Yes. So he holds a fruit, right? And this nakshatra is in this Hiramba Ganpati is five-faced, white in color. Now the planet associated with it is Venus, Shukra, white in color. Rides a big lion, so a dharmic, dharma, is one of the main significance of this nakshatra. The fig is the plant associated with it, right? Now, fig has an anti-cancer properties also, FYI, and healthy vision properties. But remember, it can interfere with the blood thinning medications. So always consult doctor if you are having any medications, whether you can have fig or not, especially right now. Because this medications might be used in a lot of people right now with the things going on. And take care, everybody. The another is that is associated with is the garland. Is the garland, right? The garland. Now, fruit and modaka I won't go in detail because we have covered in a lot of other stuff. But the garland. Now, this nakshatra is associated is when Shiva started the Bharat for getting married to Ma Parvati, and that resulted into Ganesh, and that is why we are actually I am making this video and you are watching it. So it's a very significant nakshatra for every one of us. It doesn't matter whether there is some planet or not. It really doesn't matter for the whole world. This thing is very important and very important to understand this nakshatra. Now, this nakshatra pretty much as it is associated with the marriage of Lord Shiva and Ma Parvati has a very important message of the contract of marriage. What is the meaning of marriage which is missing today in a lot of people in understanding what is marriage and what are your duties and responsibilities and why you should be living with those standards. So that is pretty much missing in today's life, so we will try to go over it. But now Purva Falguni Nakshatra, what it is, there are a lot of you will see there are a lot of gurus and saints also might be associated with Purva Falguni Nakshatra. Then you will also see people who protect people. We will go through one of the person. So over here you have to understand the koshas in a way. Basically, if you have this nakshatra, you have to understand these two things. Who is the self? What is the self composed of? Who am I? Is this hand or body and everything me? Correct? But if I let's say cut my hand and it is gone, that hand is no more mine. So this is a very big whole chapter of trying to understand the koshas. So we will just skip all this. But you also remember the story. It's for this nakshatra, it's important for people to remember the story when Shiva took off the fifth head of Brahma. And actually that fifth head of Brahma in a way is us, the ego in us, right? So all of us are from that fifth head of Brahma. So this is the nakshatra when the Bharat of Lord Shiv started to get married to Ma Parvati. So it was also basically she got the favors in a way to get married to Shiva because of her dedication, devotion, and her total submission to the divine, which in a way not force but which in a way convinced Shiva to get married to Ma Parvati. And see, you can see all the gods and everybody present over here. So let's try to understand the concept of marriage, because I see all over the internet and everywhere they talk about this nakshatra being a sexy nakshatra and this and that and all that stuff. And lately I have even gone through certain kinds of experiences in my life where it is very weird when people who talk about dharma also and who are married want to get involved in uh, relationship outside the marriage. And their reasoning is, well, I was not allowed to do certain things when I was young. Now, please try to understand the concept of marriage, because it is not just the male and the female or whosoever it is getting married. Male, male, female, female, or even a man, dog, and dog, man and a doll. By the way, man and a doll getting married just happened in Korea or Japan somewhere, right? But try to understand the concept of marriage. The concept of marriage is union, and you can unite with anything, anybody you want. That is why today people have to understand why even basically there used to be people getting married to dog and cow and goat and all that stuff, just trying to because they wanted to understand the importance of whatever that is. It was nothing physical about it or anything like that. So there are multiple things. Yes, there is physicality to it, and that physicality is usable in a proper sense only when it is a male and a female, because that is where the reproduction happens, and that is why the astrological mate is Shukra. So you can still get married to someone, but then you need to now understand the concept of Bhaga, the deity Bhaga. So then you have a bhag of getting married, but then the kid you will have to adopt. Nothing wrong in that. There are so many people, so many kids who are in the orphanage. Why not? Everybody can have a family, not a problem. There are some places in Hindu scriptures where they are talking about 63 sexes actually. And isn't it true? We allow to get married to anything. So all this kind of nuisance that has arisen in the society of some people not able to get married to some other person should go away, but at the same time it should not be in a way advertised, because we have to understand the Shukra. The Shukra are basically Venus or the semen. The male and the female can only reproduce, and the contract of marriage is not cheating on others. When you cheat on others, let's say somebody tries to seduce somebody and that person is also married, you are not only destroying your life, you are destroying two families at least. So try to understand the concept of dharma. This nakshatra is not about the enjoyment and a sexy nakshatra and this and that and all that crap what people talk about. This is a dharmic nakshatra where Hiramba Ganpati is sitting on a lion. People need to understand that is why this is the nakshatra when Shiva's Bharat started. Try to understand the marriage relationship between Ma Parvati and Lord Shiv and the existence of Lord Ganesh. So everybody should try to understand the concept of marriage especially nowadays. I think so, it's very important. So continuing further, now this nakshatra, so if you count five, so there are five heads, right? So let's count five backwards. So 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So 7 is Siddhi Ganpati. Now Siddhi Ganpati, if you look at Siddhi Ganpati, one of the other things, we are already talked about it, so you can refer to that video. But one another thing is what people need to understand and know is that sage Agastya had written this hymn, Aditya Hriday Stotram, which is associated to Surya, and Lord Ram went before going to battle also he sang it, and during the battle also he sang it, and that's how he defeated Ravana. Okay, so Aditya Hriday Stotram. Now Bhaga or Aryaman is basically is one of the Adityas. Okay. So going further, if we look at it, right, if we think about sun in a different way, now sun is the one that evaporates water from the ocean and rain is produced, correct? The whole evaporation cycle that is even given in the Vedas. The sun is the cause. The whole cycle which we even study in, that is actually comes from the Vedas. Then the southward journey of the sun causes the seasons and essential things to change in life, right? All these things we know. But still we have that ego, and which results in so many heads coming out. Now one thing people need to understand, the protector of the weak will have to in a way sacrifices their lives. Okay, Lord Ram sacrificed the life. Right, so one another thing is Ravana had 10 heads. Now Brahma took out the head of Shiva. Bhagwan took out the heads of Ravana. Okay. And one another thing to really understand is that sorry, I think I put this slide over here. Okay. So one another thing that people need to really understand about Aditya Hriday Stotram is that it also cured leprosy. It also cures leprosy. As per Samba Purana, the son of Jambavati cured himself of leprosy by worshipping Lord Surya by singing Aditya Hriday Stotram. And remember, one another thing is, this nakshatra has quite a bit of actually association with Lord Hanuman, Shani in a way. Because see, when Shani got so much of arrogance because he was the first mortal and he was ruling over the whole concept of death, right? So he got lot of so Lord Hanuman was sent by Lord Surya to teach Shani a lesson. and his whole body is Lord Hanuman, right? Lord Hanuman is related to, see, heart. So you have to understand one thing over here is how Shani and heart is connected, right? It's basically some concept like आपका घड़ा full हो गया, या तो your glass is whole full. Shani in a way is a kind of a, let's say, a repository, right? When your emotions get totally filled up, you get hurt. You cannot take it anymore, right? So Aditya Hriday Stotram is a mechanism where you basically kind of get rid of the all the things which happens, and then you basically end your day with peace. So one thing over there is when Lord Shani was bruised and he was in pain, Lord Hanuman brought him till oil. Now till oil, as we know, is associated with Siddhi Ganpati, and we talked quite a bit of Lord Hanuman over here with human cardiovascular and all that stuff. So, and you see Surya, Chaya, Heartbreak, Aditya Hriday Stotram, Protector of the Weak, Coming Back of the Light. Lot of connection over there. Now another one is basically Arjuna. Arjuna is also one of the names of Arjun is also Falgun. Now, if you know, Arjun was the only person who actually heard the Gita from Lord Krishna. One another thing that people forget is that is Gita of Ramayana, which Lord Ram heard from Lord Ram heard, right? So there were actually two of them who heard from different people, but yes, two. So there is also a Gita associated with Ramayana. If people don't know, it's you need to. It's a very nice Gita. You need to actually, if you want, you should actually look into it. It is called Yoga Vasishtha. In Yoga Vasishtha, also it is there. Sorry, Yoga Vasishtha, not Gita. Yoga Vasishtha. So in that also there are some parts of Gita over there. And if you remember, Arjuna did lot of penance, and he is so he was the protector of the weak, correct? You can see this in Tamil Nadu in Mahabalipuram, this whole sculpture. He won over Draupadi by basically shooting an arrow from the mirror from to basically a fish on the top, right? The fish associated is basically, in a way, you can say Pisces, or you can actually even say Revati, in a way. Now another story that nobody talks about, and everybody is actually in a way takes out Eklavya as nothing has to be learned from him, except that Drona was such a bad person to take out the thumb, right? Now over here you have to understand various different concepts. It's not just that, okay? Now Arjuna associated with Purva Falguni Nakshatra, you can see how much the arrogance of his went high, that he was willing to take out the thumb of Eklavya. So that is the arrogance that can arise in Purva Falguni Nakshatra people. So they have to be very, very cautious about it, because you will be generating directly, you will be generating enemies, and very powerful enemies. I would say Eklavya was a very powerful enemy actually. Another thing for people to learn is that whatever Eklavya you might want to consider this or that, and he gave his thumb and all that stuff. But one thing that you people need to really understand is that Eklavya then later stood against Dharma. I understand that Arjun did not do good with Eklavya, but Eklavya still had a chance to stand with Dharma, and Arjuna had a chance to understand and might be get Eklavya into his uh, team. But what he did, he was unable to take, the ego was unable to take that somebody was better than me. So over here, even I would say Eklavya also got his head in a way taken away later. Very sad story. Now another is Suryaputra Karna, Danveer Karna. His head was also taken out away by Arjun. Now Suryaputra Karna, everybody loves him, likes him, everything. But one thing you have to understand is Lord Krishna gave him a chance to come and stand by Dharma. He gave him a chance. He did not take it. And whatever it is, try to understand the life of Karna. Try to be in his shoes. There are people who say that, oh, I would love to be in his shoes because he's the Danveer Karna and all that stuff. But whatever it is, his ego was running head high, right? That he was willing to take anything for, okay, for whatever, I will just take Duryodhan. So that is also against the whole concept of dharma. Dharma tests you. Somebody does bad to you, you can do bad to them, but is it going to solve your problem? That should also be a question. Or why it happened should be a question. So Danveer Karna was good, no doubt, but he stood against Dharma. So the protector of the weak, he has to take him out. So try to understand the concept of protector of the weak. So it is not about the sexuality, physicalities and all that stuff. That's a part of it. Yes, it comes. Why? Because basically it's a Leo constellation in a way, right? It's from the Leo. So it is basically creation, regeneration. That will happen, but it is more about the dharma, because why do you take birth in this world? Because you want to fulfill some desire. That's why you take the birth. As soon as the desires are gone, you get the moksha and all that stuff, right? I don't want to go into detail of those things, but so try to understand one thing is, so if you are going to take birth, your desire has to be fulfilled. So Hiramba Ganpati is important in that way also. You came over here, your dharma is to fulfill your desire. So that desire, lot of people have associated it with sex. No. Sex is just one part of it. Okay, so this nakshatra is totally about protector of the weak. And this nakshatra is very, very important because, as we can see, Lord Shiv's Bharat starts over here and he gets married in Uttar Falguni Nakshatra. So the union happens in Uttar Falguni Nakshatra. But the seed of it, in a way, or the grand beginning of that, not the seed, but grand appearance of the fructification of it happens in the Hiramba Ganpati portion of it. Then we also know that Arjun is associated. He is known as the Falgun. He also had Uttar Falguni and Purva Falguni in his birth chart, right? Now, now let's try to take one modern example of this astrological nakshatra, and we will take a chart. We will take a chart of modern Arjun. Now, modern Arjun you might not have heard, but you might have heard about Mahatma, not Gandhi, Mahatma Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. I call him the protector of the weak. His Jupiter was in Purva Falguni Nakshatra, his moon was in Uttara Falguni Nakshatra. Kind of similar to Arjun. He was the modern Arjun of our times. Jupiter, Purva Falguni, right? Protector of the weak. What did he say? तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा. Jai Hind. The English translation is, you give me blood, I will give you independence. Jai Hind. So, look at it, how greatly he is connected with this nakshatra, and he is the modern Arjun who gave us basically the freedom. India got freedom because of him. And you see how much the very first army of India, you can see the women regiment. It was called the Rani Lakshmibai regiment, I think so. So this much equality we have in our culture with women. Now let's try to understand this whole, in a way, Mahatma Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, right? So in the 12th house, so the 2 feet, 12th house is associated with 2 feet, right? And the song that INA had, and like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's favorite song in a way, is Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja. Feet by feet, go forward. Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja. Right? So this song was banned by the British in India after World War II as seditious. So now you look at it, his moon is over there in the 12th house. And this was banned by the British, this song, because it was considered as seditious. So it was considered as a seditious, means basically it will end the British Empire. So that's why it was banned. End of an empire, end of the life, 12th house, 2 feet, Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja. And how much influence he had of great souls, Mahatma Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He used to say that, that Vivekananda is the maker of modern India. You can see his Ketu is in Ashlesha, pretty much associated with people who love their country, the Deshbhakts, the national loving people, they are associated with Ashlesha Nakshatra. Right? Now, how much as a leader, how much conviction he had is one thing that we need to learn. He said, I only give expression to my very firm conviction when I say that India will be free during our lifetime. So Rashtrapati Subhas Bose said that, and his conviction, right? So what he is saying during our during our lifetime. Now if you look at it, his Lagna is in Swati. Now Swati Nakshatra, the Swati Ganpati is basically the Nritya Ganpati is described as the happy dancer. Nritya Ganpati is four-armed and golden with rings on his fingers, holding a tusk gourd noose and a modaka sweet. He prances under a kalpavriksha tree, epitomizing exuberant activity and joy. See, kalpavriksha is important over here for us to understand, because he actually gave birth to a new nation. Mahatma Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose gave birth to a new nation. Okay, it was because of his army, India got the freedom. I know somehow as soon as the freedom happened, he is nowhere in the newspaper. Somehow taken out. And so many nonsense created by people about all of his efforts during that time. So for that also we need to understand who was Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and why he did what he did, how he gave birth to a nation, why he went into a war. Mars, right? Why he went into a war? He was sitting with Gandhi and he wanted to go on the non-violent path. But then what happened? Why did he go on that path? And he said that I will create an Indian national army and I will get the freedom. No, if nobody wants to do that, you give me blood, I will give you freedom. Why did he do that? So for that, let's try to understand it, because it is very important for people to understand that why I call this person a Mahatma. A Mahatma, why? Because this person realized the things as they are. Because if you want to really move in your life, or you really need to understand, you have to look things as they are. You have to remove all the filters out. So he fought the British, right? So he was fighting for the freedom. So let's try to understand who were the imperial powers. So Britain ruled 62 countries, approximate. All these numbers are approximate, by the way. Somehow Germany is missing in this. Anyways, Britain ruled 62 countries, France 28, Spain 17, Soviet Union 16, Portugal 7, United States 5, Australia is there, Belgium is there, Japan, Sweden, China, Italy, Turkey, Germany. All of them were basically imperial powers. So what did these imperial powers do? Britain, for example, by a very rough estimate, they took $45 trillion out of India. The jihadis, read this book. Forced conversion, slavery, read it. It is by M.A. Khan. Partition of Africa. How it was divided by these imperial powers. The American genocide. You see this? You know what is this? These are bisons. And this guy is standing on it. He killed these many bisons. For what? Gameplay, fun. Want to remove all the bisons so that all the land is for them. Now bisons are only found in 2 states in United States. Bisons used to be there in all the states of United States in millions. Now they are barely in thousands. Australian, what they did to the natives. So try to understand who he was trying to fight and why he moved from a non-violent movement with Gandhi to basically a different path where he formed his own army. So his Indian independent army happened before even the independence of India, and the leader was Mahatma Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose of Azad Hind Fauj. So look at it. They used to kill people by just strapping them to this cannons and then shoot them off. Look at this, a woman, how she is being treated in the British rule, and rape laws protected the British officers. All of us know about the Great Bengal Famine. We know about the General Dyer Jallianwala Bagh massacre also. So all these things were happening right in front of his eyes, but he was still under the impression of basically let's get it by non-violent standards. Okay, till now he was still there. So this was Jallianwala Bagh. Even there he was like still with Gandhi doing all that stuff, right? And then if you look over here in America, in India, there's all these tigers and all that. The Britishers, how animals were killed. Pashupatinath might be crying. Now these are animals, correct? We consider animals to be less than us. Look at this. It's 1960. These are aboriginals. They called aborigines, or they are the natives. These are the people who Australia is theirs. And they are not animals, but see, look at them, they are treated like animals. We should not be treating even animals like this, but look at this. It was in 1960s. Nowadays they are holding up, oh, we are the human rights, human rights, human rights. USA, human rights, human rights, human rights. Britishers, human rights, human rights, human rights. Who will answer for all these things? Who is going to answer it? Look at this guy in New Zealand in 1895. Look at this, what he did. A collection of native people's head. So this is how much ego these guys had. So my question to all of you is this. Can a slave of British colonials say this or not? I am really very serious. Can we ask this question to ourselves or not? If a powerful empire like the British Empire can go around the world with a begging bowl, they went to come to USA with a begging bowl. What objection could there be to an enslaved, disarmed people like ourselves? We were the slaves. Okay, India, we were the slaves. Africa, Africans were the slaves. Natives of all the lands were slaves, basically. So if they can go with a begging bowl all around the world to ask for help for saving their own freedom, can't we, the slaves, go abroad to ask for our freedom? Which kind of logic is this, I ask you? British went with a begging ball of violence to ensure their freedom. So that is the thing that you have to understand. So what used to inspire Subhash Chandra Bose before he asked this question to himself? Let's see. Before he asked this question to himself, he was inspired to join the freedom movement when lawyers quit the courts, when the title holders relinquishes their title, students left their college, government servants started resigning their offices. Then Rabindranath Tagore renounced his knighthood, C.R. Das left his lucrative bar practice. So when that happened, Subhash Chandra Bose, a nail hit in his head. That how could he continue the service of the government when Mohandas Gandhi renounced the service of the government as satanic? How could he continue? So he just went for Purna Swaraj and he said, I want freedom and I will join Gandhi. Before he actually asked this question to himself. But then what happened? The war started. The World War II started. I think that's the time when he asked himself this question. Because he saw them going with a begging bowl everywhere to save themselves from the Germans. Once again, a colonial power. That also is a colonial power, right? So Britishers were not non-violent in fighting for the freedom of their right for freedom. He pretty much saw it with his own eyes. Now, he was not that idiot. He was a very, very, very Mahatma soul. He understood it. An intelligent being gets an answer. See, an intelligent being will get the answer looking at the war. And so did Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose. He got it. He said that if Britishers can do this, then why we who are our slaves, why can't we go and fight for our freedom? And why can't we go and ask for help from anybody? See, wisdom of ages. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's a wisdom old, is a ages old wisdom. It does work if handled tactfully. And he was very tactful in handling all those things. He was a dreamer. He had put also the currency, the stamps were also there. Equality for the women. Look at it. I will make a separate episode about Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose, but I just wanted to give few slides out of it over here because we are trying to understand his protect as he was the protector of the weak. His Jupiter is in Purva Falguni too. Is pretty much known today. तुम मुझे खून दो मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा. He is pretty much known today with Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja. Very important, the moon thing, right? And then we know that what happened after that, what happened to him is all rest shrouded in mystery. So other notable personalities in Purva Falguni Nakshatra, See, remember, this was a freedom fighter, Arjun, who got us the freedom. On top of it, right, he is a Mahatma. Other great people who have Purva Falguni nakshatra in their horoscopes are Swami Shivananda, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, Sadguru Jaggi Vasudev. They all have it. Okay, so pretty much associated with spirituality a lot. I know I have not discussed much of the chart, rather than I have much more discussed the history of Subhash Chandra Bose. But try to understand this Swati Nakshatra, Kalpavriksha, birth of a new nation, right? So, who other had Swati Nakshatra in their horoscopes? Let's see that. Mahatma Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had it, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Mohandas Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Jinnah, they all had it. So, try to understand these relationships, and pretty much I will also be working on the book which I might come up for with all the Ganpatis. So I'm working on that, so I'm slow in other episodes also. I didn't cover much of the astrological whole reading of this, but you pretty much get it, because you majority of the people who understand these nakshatras, they will understand by all this what I am saying, right? Mars in Rohini. So uh, so basically he tried to getting the resources back to 8 axis, right? By fighting, getting the resources back for the country. He is known fifth Leo, right? For the country, Leo kind of associated with the king. Third house of so in all those, ninth the house of dharma or the profession is speaking, all that stuff, you look at it, right? It's so much amazing that Swati Nakshatra is also related with birth of a new nation, where Mahatma Netaji Bose, Vallabhbhai Patel, Mohandas Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Jinnah all had this nakshatra also in theirs. So that's pretty much it. Uh, it's, I know it's a pretty very fast superficial whole nakshatra, but I can talk for hours about this nakshatra. Main thing to remember is about your ego, and try to understand the concept of marriage. Aditya Hriday Stotram is important for this nakshatra. For this nakshatra, it is important. You cannot have your ego more. Rama, Ravan. Okay? It is all, the significance is all about the ego. So, Aditya Hriday Stotram, don't forget that part of it. Learn something from all these stories. Protector of the weak, Subhash Chandra Bose got us freedom from the clutches of these kind of people. So from these kind of people, okay? So if a person gets me out from these kind of slavery, I call that person a Mahatma. Thank you very much. It was nice talking. And Hiramba Ganpati is very much, I think, worshipped in Nepal. And all these 32 Ganpatis can be found in India. I will talk about it might be later in the one of the next episodes. But nice talking. Thank you very much. Namaskar.